Welcome to the Archive Network. I'm Aurelius, and with me, as always, Malik. We curate the Conflict Archive. Today we open a new file. 100 Years War. Dada. Malik, you've had this one on your desk for a while. A kingdom's fate balanced on a knife's edge. England and France, two nations locked in a deadly dance. The tension is palpable. By the early 14th century, ambition is the air they breathe. Charles IV's death in 1328 left no male heir. That sparked a chain reaction. Edward III saw an opening, a claim to the French throne, but the French barons had other ideas.
But let's not pretend this was just a matter of succession. The Salic law barred Edward from the throne, but it wasn't only legal. It was about pride and identity. French nobles wanted to assert their authority, not just over Edward, but over their own realms. The English claim wasn't merely a political move. It was a direct challenge to French pride.
True, but the stakes were set by history. Edward III's claim was a calculated gamble, a bold move in a game where the rules were ever shifting. This is how empires operate. They seize opportunities, even when the math seems flawed or the odds are stacked against them. Meanwhile, the French crown opted for Philip VI, a choice that reflected their desire to consolidate power. It was a calculated defiance, a statement that echoed across the lands.
A gamble? Perhaps. But it also created a rift that would widen over the years. The French officials clamped down on English merchants in Bordeaux, seizing their ships. It wasn't just economics. It was a declaration of war in its own right. The common people bore the brunt of this conflict as taxes rose and trade dwindled.
Suspicion was the currency of the day, and we watched as every action taken by one side provoked swift reactions from the other. English nobles were fuming, their profit margins dwindling with each passing moment. The continent became a chessboard, each player waiting for a misstep. Alliances shifted like shadows, sometimes in the blink of an eye. Tensions escalated, and the stakes grew ever higher, leaving us to wonder just how long this game could go on before someone made a fatal error.
And yet, the real cost of this political game was paid by the common people. Rumors of plague began to creep through the villages. They faced rising taxes and unplanted fields. The war was not just about crowns. It was about survival for those who worked the land. The powerful may gamble, but it's the weak who pay the price.
You're right to highlight the human cost of these changes. But let's take a step back. The centralization of authority in France, particularly under Philip VI, wasn't just a reaction to chaos. It was a calculated move. Powerful vassals pushed back against the new rules, but this was all part of a broader strategy. The French weren't merely responding to threats. They were actively fortifying their realm, ensuring stability and laying the groundwork for future strength.
Fortifying, or tightening their grip. The English aristocracy sensed opportunity in the chaos. In Calais, dockworkers traded rumors of war in smoky taverns. Those rumors weren't just idle chatter. They were the lifeblood of fear and unrest. The tension was everywhere, not just among the nobles, but also among the peasants, who were caught in the crossfire.
The lawless bands roaming the countryside were just a symptom of the larger disorder we're witnessing. Spies and mercenaries shift their allegiances like the wind changes direction, driven by self-interest. This is no longer a mere dispute between kings. It's a societal collapse. Both sides are gearing up for a storm, but they're also stoking the flames. We must remember that when the foundations of order crumble, chaos becomes the new normal.
And that's the tragedy, isn't it? The powerful gamble while the weakest suffer. In Westminster, Edward III is plotting his next move, his eyes glued to the crown, oblivious to the chaos around him. Meanwhile, the streets of Paris swell with soldiers and beggars, each face telling a story of hardship. The anxiety is thick in the air. You can hear the tolling church bells echoing through the alleys, a haunting reminder of the fear that grips the city.
The chess match is over. The first raindrops have begun to fall in royal chambers. The storm is brewing, and it's growing more dangerous by the moment. Edward's claim to the French throne will set all of Europe ablaze. He prepares for a conflict that won't just reshape England and France, but the entire continent.
And what about the common folk? They aren't just mere pawns in this game. The embers of ambition are glowing hot, but it's their cities, their lives, that will pay the price. Families are caught in the crossfire, their hopes and dreams hanging by a thread. As the storm gathers, the people brace for impact, knowing they will be the ones left to sift through the rubble, rebuilding their lives from the remnants of a glory that was never theirs.
The point of no return has passed. The coming conflict won't play out in council chambers, but on blood-soaked fields where valor and desperation will collide. The kings may strategize and scheme, but it's the commoners who will bear the burden. We stand on the brink of a war that will last a century, with consequences that will ripple through generations. History will remember this, and we must brace ourselves for the chaos that's about to unfold.
That's where we leave it for now. Part 1 of 5. 100 Years' War is far from done. If you're new here, we're Aurelius and Malik, curators of the Conflict Archive, part of the Archive Network. Part 2 drops soon.